Libya's new unity government says it wants warplanes and helicopters to fight Islamic State and other extremist groups. Its forces have been advancing on ISIL positions in the cities of Misrata and Sirte. The Islamic State seized those towns last year. Libyan forces on the front line say they need international logistical support to help retake Sirte. It's considered the group's most important base outside Syria and Iraq. International powers have been making gains against ISIL in the Middle East, but the group's presence in Libya has also been growing. On Monday, ministers backed Libya's new unity government's call to relax the international arms embargo against the country. Right, let's get you an update now on that story. CCTV's Adel Mahroui joins us live from Cairo. Adel, what's the latest on the Libyan army's push against ISIL?
Well, it seems that, of course, the battles are always ongoing in Libya against ISIL. Its base or its headquarters now is in Sirte area or in Sirte cities and surrounding villages. Today there have been some advances from Sirte as ISIL expands its territory, trying to increase its defense line beyond Sirte territories. It has reached up to an area called Al-Sadada and its east Misrata, inside the Misratan borders and outside Sirte's borders. So ISIL is trying to expand these defense lines so that when these defense lines fall, its main headquarters and stability inside Sirte would not be affected. So these limited advances have been reported today from inside the Libyan territories. There has been at least one suicide bomb reported or claimed by ISIL at Al Sadada area, which is an eastern bridge that connects both eastern Misrata to the Sirte area.
And to what extent, Adel, is Egypt assisting Libyan forces in their battle against ISIL militants?
Well, Egypt is taking a strong approach toward the Libyan government in general, the internationally recognized government based in Tobruk and led by General Khalifa Haftar as a man who represents, from an Egyptian perspective, the unity of the Libyan armed forces. Through that, Egypt believes that this army should be supported with arms. It should be empowered, trained to get the decent capabilities that will enable it to meet its demands or meet the responsibilities it has to face the threat of the Islamic State. This has always been Egypt's position because of the close relationship with the internationally recognized government, and it is the one that Egypt always talks to when it comes to the security of the Egyptian western borders, which is Libya's east. So overall, this has been Egypt's position. Now, moving from that, during the Vienna talks, the Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry also reassured that Egypt is willing to give full support to the government of national accord led by Prime Minister Fayez al-Sarraj. He needs, though, to unify the efforts of the Libyan government and have one facility or one entity that controls the entire armed forces of Libya, whether that will include the Tripolis or Western coalition of Libya's Dawn or Fajr Libya, that has been a representative of an armed forces to the Islamists in the West, along with the Eastern Tobruk. Now, who will lead this joint venture, if successful, is still a big question. While Egypt is trying to push its trust to show that it entrusts Khalifa Haftar to do this mission, it seems that Fayez Sarraj is sort of pressured to pick someone new, or he is pressured from the Western powers to accept Khalifa Haftar as that kind of leader. And mainly it's that battle that has been quite repeatedly delaying the formation or even the implementation, the actual performance of the government on the ground in empowering it to lead the country. Now, this also might affect, analysts believe, what has been announced by Western powers and the US, that they are willing to lift the arms embargo over Libya, or at least lift it gradually. Egypt believes that all of these efforts should be done through the UN envoy to Libya and the United Nations Security Council.
Okay, Hadil Mahroui joining us live from Cairo. Thank you. Well, American special forces are also assisting the Libyan army. Washington's established 2 covert outposts in Libya to support armed factions against ISIL. CCTV's Daniel Branches has more on that story.
US Special Operations Forces sometimes conduct dramatic assaults on the compounds of high-profile terrorists such as Osama bin Laden. But most of their work remains covert. US officials have disclosed that since late 2015, 2 Special Forces teams, fewer than 25 troops, have been operating in the Libyan cities of Misrata and Benghazi.
So in this case, they're clearly not capable of protecting themselves and certainly not of being a tactically relevant force. They are, if the numbers are correct as reported, they're essentially immersed within the way truly covert teams do their business over the years. So this is a little bit akin to how the A teams moved into Afghanistan in September of 2001, that sort of thing.
The Washington Post reports anonymous US officials told the newspaper that their principal mission is intelligence gathering.
To develop contact groups that will first map out the configurations of political and military groups on the ground in Libya, understand them better, assess their capabilities, and in time possibly move to arming and helping guide their operations.
The vulnerability of such a small force presents political risk to President Obama and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Clinton's accused of failing to provide additional security for the US diplomatic compound in Benghazi. An attack there by militants took the lives of US Ambassador Christopher Stevens and 3 other Americans.
We want some of these Libyan militias to be aware that if they were to work together and support the national unity government that's been created but is sort of powerless at the moment, that the Western world might be willing to step in and support them. And so showing that we're already willing to be on the ground conveys a seriousness of purpose.
US Defense Secretary Ashton Carter's indicated that any major military support for Libya will be contingent on the success of the still fragile unity government. President Obama has demonstrated a reluctance to commit conventional American boots on the ground in favor of providing weapons and intelligence to local forces and having US Special Forces train them. Daniel Wrenches, CCTV, Washington.